American Mustache Leatherworks here again. I'm going to show you how I make the 2E Squeeze wallet. This is going to be in rich mahogany with black edge paint. And here's the process. Get yourself some leather and neat's foot oil. Rub some in using your lint-free cloth. And we're going to do two layers of this. 2 coats rather. That's the word I'm thinking of. In between the coats, we're going to let it sit about 5-10 minutes so it sits in there and fully saturates. Here is the second coat. And I like to do this because it really takes the dye really well. I'm using Pro Dye, so it's not as necessary, but come on, it makes the leather feel super soft, so I want that. We're going to be using Mahogany Pro Dye, as I said before. And the first step, I like to swirl. Using a lint-free cloth. No dauber here, my friends. First layer is easy. Let it sit 5-10 minutes. Here's the second layer. And you're going to go with a diagonal back and forth. You can do it any way you want. I know Chuck Dorset likes to just dip it into the Pro Dye. You can do it any way you want. 3 layers, 3 coats is what I'm putting on. Of course, letting it sit 5-10 minutes. Doi. Do it any way you like. Just get the color on there. Of course, your gloves. So I'm going to finish the leather with this burnishing gum. Expensive burnishing gum, by the way. I don't see a lot of people using it in this way. I usually just see them use it for burnishing, but it is a finish for leather, and man, does it just feel good. It feels good. It makes it slick. It darkens up the color a lot, which is also desired. So let's get cutting. Here is my template. Very simple 2-piece pattern. And we're going to just do them both twice. So 4 pieces of this wallet all together. Very simple. Cutting out the pattern can be easy if you use a new blade. Of course, use one of those rulers that have cork underneath it so that it can grip so you don't slide. I can't tell you how many projects I've messed up using the wrong kind of ruler. You could use a dull knife. You're just going to have to cut a few extra times to get your cut, and it's just not as clean, but it'll still cut. So do what you want, but be what you are. Watch those fingertips too. Did he just give me the finger? All right, I'm gonna put my brand on there, my maker mark. I have 2 stamps I like to use. The first one I'm going to put on will be the American flag using my half-ton arbor press from Amazon. I think I paid like $70 for it. It's worth every penny. There it is, American Mustache. All right, so let's start the burnishing process of these pockets. We're just going to do the 2 front pockets there, back and front, and you're going to go ahead and use a beveler. This is a cheapo one, which I've sharpened, which works really well. The other ones I have kind of dig a little too deep for this project, so I decided to go with that. Using the same burnishing gum I used to finish the leather, we're going to burnish. This is an old-fashioned thing. This just makes those edges really rounded off and smooth, and it's going to take edge paint, which is the next process after that. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself just yet. Rub it in good, get your slicker, and you want to hear that squeak. That's how you know it's working. Listen. See? All right, it's all done. Get your edge coat. Again, it's Phoebe's, whatever. Here's a close-up. I got the Craftsman's or I don't know what the brand of that is. I got it at Tandy's. It was like the $25 one. I could have opted for a cheaper one, but man, come on. You gotta have the tools. As Tim the Toolman Taylor would say. So once you get that edge paint on, you're gonna let it sit. Look at how nice that looks. Slick, like glass. All right, I need to shave this down a bit, and we're gonna skive it. I love using this French skiver. French beveler, rather. And I got this one at Tandy's. God, Tandy's is so good. Don't you love Tandy's? It's like every single tool I see there, I gotta have. So I'm just gonna skive the edges, not the top, because I want that to be sort of thick. All right. It's gonna have round bottom edge, as you saw in the beginning of the video. So we're gonna get those marked. I like to have these done, or like to have these cut later. There's just something, if you just cut it wrong the first time, or you have the pattern cut, it just seems weird, and I like to do this last. All right, use the template to mark where you're going to glue it down, or you can just use the piece, but it happens to be drying as we speak, so we're going to glue it down here. Man, I'm going fast. I wish that I can make these things as fast as I can show them to you. Got some glue in the squeeze bottle and my glue stick thing spreader. Let it dry. Both sides you apply glue to, and now you slap it in there. Really being careful. You don't want very much overlay, less work to do later. And you want those edges to meet just about perfect. Perfect would be great, but you know what Salvador Dali says about perfection. All right, so what I told you here, we're going to cut that now. Those round edges are happening. Great. So I want the inside of those pockets to not be just bare leather color, natural leather color, so I'm going to dye them just a quick little coat of that mahogany. Man, I'm moving fast on this project, aren't I? Get your compass. We're going to scratch in our stitch line here. As you can see, there you go. Go around those edges very carefully. It's easy to slip and really mess up your project, so take your time. There's no rush, man. Here are those $20 chisels that I got. They're still working really well. This is the 5mm. And we're just going to do the top line of both of the sides, I guess. Both sides. All right, to stitch, you're going to want about 4 times the length, so I measure it, I double it over, and double that over. My scissors, we cut, grab your needles, and thread. Look at how easy it is to thread needles. I don't know why people think it's such a hard thing to thread needles. It's not that hard. Maybe it's because I have the big eye ones. But even then, I used to sew when I was a kid. Those little holes are easy to get through. Ooh, that sounds dirty. All right, here's the in-the-hand saddle stitch that I've showed previously. And I think I'll make a video on saddle stitching in the future. Cut. Oh, where'd the lighter go? There it is. And that's just how you finish your stitch. Pretty easy. You're going to beat down those stitches down a bit so they sit really nice and flush. And we're going to get into burnishing again. You got to bevel the edges, sand them down. Tedious work, tedious work. So I use gradually higher grit each time. And then you get into burnishing, burnishing, burnishing. Listen for that squeak. It's working. Edge coat time. So I've said in previous videos, the way that I like to finish my edges is 3 times. And what I mean is I'm going to put down a layer of edge coat, let that dry. Then I'm going to grab my soldering iron, and I'll show you here. And this gets rid of any imperfections, really smooths it out. If you use that edge coat, you can see all the little imperfections in it, but this helps smooth it out. And then you add another coat. You do the same again, let it dry, add your soldering iron across it, and then add another layer. And it's just going to look beautiful. Those edges are going to be great. So after you let that dry, it's the next day. I don't know if you can tell. Look, the shirt's different. We're going to glue the two pieces together, and it's going to start looking like a wallet. Very carefully stick these two together after they dry. Time to chisel the holes for the final stitching of this project. Oops, almost messed up there. That would have been bad. Going around the round edges using your two-pronged chisel there. All right, tedious step of saddle stitching. This is not the in the hands version. This is, I don't know what this is, the traditional way that I learned. You push it in, you wrap it around, pull her out. Makes a nice stitch. One of the better looking stitches that I just like this one. All right, we're gonna finish this. Instead of cutting it and burning it on the outside, I'm going to hide the final bits of the string of the thread inside. So using the existing holes, I'm gonna poke it through and use the needle to make sure that it's in the pocket. Be careful not to stab yourself, because that can easily happen, and it happened to me. Not in this project though. Sorry guys. I use blunt edge needles, which are really helpful. So to finish this stitch, we're going to push them through, like I said, and we're going to tie it, do a double knot, a square knot, cut it, and burn it. And it's easy to hide in there. You hide all your little mistakes right there in that corner. Perfect.
Hey there, thanks for watching.
It's almost done here. So we're going to make sure we sand it down so it's all level before we get into, again, beveling and burnishing. Get those edges nice and round. Pretty simple stuff here. Burnish time. Get that slicker going. All right, time for edge paint. I do the 3 finish edge paint, as I said previously in the video, and it's no different on this side. Thin layer for the first one, plug in your soldering iron, let it dry, and slick it down with the hot soldering iron. Anyways, 3 layers all done. You let that final coat sit. You can add more coats as you see fit. It is up to you and then the time you have allotted. So anyways, here's the final project all set and done in just a moment. There it is. It fits your money inside the pocket just by squeezing it. Fits a couple cards. I'm sure you can fit more than 1 card in each pocket if you'd like. It's a little tight. You just got to work it in a bit. it will loosen up over time, so you can fit as much cards you want, and it still squeezes while there's cards in it. That's the purpose of it. Well, anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. This has been American Mustache Leatherworks. I hope you've enjoyed. Please consider subscribing. Thank you very much. That's right.